All right, we're live. I didn't give Gary any warning there. So this is Jason, NorCal Carters, and I just went live. So we have Gary Carlton sitting here, and we are at the Blue Max Kart Club, and just wrapping up the Trackmagic reunion. And I was only here for today. I kind of missed the festivities yesterday, but you guys knocked it out of the park.
Well, I can't say I knocked it out of the park. We'd have to give all the credit to Bob Eriks. I mean, really, he's the guy who put all this together and started this Trackmagic owners group. And obviously, you know, all the people that used to drive Trackmagic as drivers, me being one of the drivers there, you know, he invited me into the group on the Facebook page and everything. And it was really cool just seeing all the photos and everything. But, I mean, myself, I didn't have anything to do with getting this organized and everything. Obviously, we had a little surprise for everyone that we wanted to do to unveil this event. But like I said, I mean, obviously, you know, it was great that everyone came out and saw everyone and all the drivers. But I mean, a lot has to go out to Bob Eriks to put this together and make this group. And I mean, I guess this is their second one.
Yeah, this is their second. They did one a couple months ago.
Yeah. So obviously this one I think was a lot bigger, and I think, you know, the little points made it out for this one, and everyone was able to make it out. You know, Kyle Martins, the Landon Yees, the Oliver Rowans, all the big factory names that, you know, used to do it back in the day, and I was able to make it out too. So it was big props to those guys. Big props to Rich Bakke also from Gorilla Barbecue to do the barbecue for us. You know, amazing food. I've actually literally never had barbecue that good in my life. So, you know, it's a great event.
That's the only reason I came out, was food.
I'm assuming that's what brought a lot of people, and I can see why now. Anyone that's obviously... I'd never been to his restaurant in Pacifica. I actually tried to go 2 times when I was in SF area, but each time they were closed because they were sold out, because they obviously sell out every day. So...
Yeah, I think that's his deal. It's like he makes enough, whatever he makes, that's it for the day.
Yeah,
and it's fresh, and he sells out, and good luck.
Yeah, and what a business model, right? You know exactly what you're going to pull in each day, and you don't have any waste. And obviously, the people are waiting around the corner to get his stuff. And I can, like I said, after eating his food this weekend, I mean, damn near put me in a food coma. It's so good, you know.
Yeah, and then Big Rich, I mean, he is a big part of Trackmagic in the backgrounds and in the pits. And so it's neat seeing that tie-in with Big Rich. And again, a big shout out to Bob Eriks as well, because I'll call him the front man. And the other thing I find very interesting is I'm kind of the outsider when it comes to Trackmagic. I owned one Trackmagic go-kart. It was the first KT100 that I bought, and it was a Trackmagic, but I was never a part of that group. I was just kind of doing my own thing. And what always struck me with Trackmagic, there was always a passion that overflowed out of the tent. Whether it was with a personality like Rich, you know, in the pits, whether it was someone like Jason Lapointe that, you know, rarely made eye contact because he was so focused on his program, or someone like George Barros that he doesn't speak a lot, but you can tell his heart and his passion was behind the product. And then leading all the way up to you. I mean, you're one of the most passionate people out there. And, you know, you have some great memories on the Trackmagic stuff. You definitely are not one of those guys, or at least you didn't when you raced. You didn't hide your emotion. You let people see that emotion. And to me, that was really a whole aura about Trackmagic. And, oh, there goes Joe Fong. And we had Joe Fong on earlier. And just seeing what Bob is kind of captured as not being a insider guy. I talked to Bob a few months ago on my podcast, and he said he was just a customer. And he enjoyed the product, he enjoyed the environment, he enjoyed I'm losing the word, but he really enjoyed the atmosphere at Trackmagic when he bought his cart. And it's really neat to see someone like that bring that passion back. And I think it's contagious.
I think what it comes down to be honest, Jason, when you have your own product, I think what we see nowadays here in the American karting, especially, it's just you buy your European kart or you buy your big name go-kart and you start a race team and that's it. For race team owners or you go underneath a tent, with a big name go-kart and a race team. And I mean, those guys in the end are just customers. These big teams that are buying go-karts, they're customers from a factory, where Trackmagic, they were the factory. They were the guys making the go-karts. They were the guys having to put their heads in the dirt and go to Dixon when it was 105 degrees and getting bit by bugs because, one, Fausto, the original owner, told them they had to or they'd get fired. But two, because the kart wasn't going to develop themselves, obviously, right? I mean, when you have all these European companies now or, get a big brand name, and that hard work, dedication, passion, and love for the sport is done by somebody else, and you just buy it.
Yeah, that's true.
And where Trackmagic was, they had to do it. They had to put in the work. They had to do it from scratch, and it was their design. And if the kart was no good, it was on them. And if the kart was good, it was something that, not only did they could win a race and say they did well, but they could also say they designed and built the go-kart also. Yeah. So I think that's why you see the passion in it, and there's a different level that you have to go to when you become a manufacturer and also race yourself. And I think that's what you see. You build something. It's one thing to go on, like I said, a proven product and just jump on it and win a race. But when you've done the work and been in the shop and welding the tubes and been at Dixon and done all that hard work and developed a product, it's a whole nother level of satisfaction. Yeah, no, that's very true. And I think we've been lucky. In Northern California, there was Trackmagic, there was CTS, there's Emic. Invader. Yeah. And those are just the first four that really come to mind that were in Northern California developing American-made chassis for the karting market. And maybe we were a little spoiled because when we went to the track, we saw that hard work everywhere, that development everywhere. And then you introduce a company like Trackmagic that took it just to the next level. It was a different. I mean, they weren't an established karting company. No, they came in as outsiders with a background, and you can go into their background because I don't know it that well, but they really kind of flipped Northern California a little bit on its head, and it's like, no, we're going to do this, and they wanted to compete with the best, and they did. Yeah, and I think, this is how I heard the story, and I'm sure there are many more people that know the Trackmagic history better than I do. But how I was told the story was Fausto Vitello, the originator of Trackmagic, bought an Emic go-kart and started racing here in NorCal, and he saw a few things that he thought could be better on the go-kart. Went to Emic and addressed the issues, what he thought were issues, and explained to him how they could be done better and everything, and they kind of flogged him off and kind of laughed at him. And so Fausto said, well, F you, I'm going to go build my own. I'll build my own kart then. Yeah. And that was the birth of Trackmagic. And then obviously I think with his other businesses being so successful, being Thrasher, Skateboard Magazine, owning basically the skateboard world, he had the funding to go to the national scene where maybe some of these others didn't, and hire the best drivers, hire the best people to run his team and develop his product. And yeah, with the best people and the right funding, they took over basically shifter karting in the late 90s, early 2000s of American shifter kart racing. That's right, yeah. Now, you want to share a couple stories from the old Trackmagic days? Or one story that comes to mind? It was just Fausto's personality, to be honest. Every story that comes into my mind always revolved around Fausto. Fausto was kind of he was the guy that was larger than life. And this whole thing, this reunion, everything, everyone knows it's based around for Fausto. It was always everything people would talk about when the tornado came through. Like, oh, Fausto's coming to say hello. I mean, it's based around him because he was a guy that had that larger than life feeling. I mean, he'd walk into the factory. I mean, if people were kind of messing around, laughing and stuff, like you would like straighten up. You know, like you got to be on your best behavior, and had that. He had the biggest heart, but I mean, you had that respect for him that you didn't want to mess up, and you wanted to do well for him because he was that type of guy. I mean, he took guys in like myself that weren't maybe the best driver at the time, and I remember me going into the factory, and I was a skateboarder at the time. My shoes were all ripped up, from skateboarding all the time, and then he looked at my toolbox, and he's like, "Well, what's this toolbox? I mean, this is what you don't have screwdrivers." Well, yeah, I usually borrow one and everything. And the next day, a brand new toolbox would be sitting on my bench with full of tools, and he would never say anything like, "Oh, this is your tools." He'd just leave it there, and it was just kind of, and he'd go up to you and thank you. You would go up, thank you, and just look at you, and kind of like that eye and that look, like, don't mess up. I'm giving you everything you need. Don't mess up. Don't take the opportunity and mess it up. Like, you better work hard. These tools are for you to work hard and to help you succeed. They're not a gift because I like you. Of course I like you. That's not a way good to say it. It's not because I don't like you. Because I like you and you're my friend. I'm doing this because you need this to help you succeed. And if you mess it up, they're not your tools anymore, kind of thing. So just every racing story, there was always bad moments. The days at Dixon, trying things. I mean, things breaking, tires flying off because the spindle broke that we were testing, and trying 10 things, and 9 times out of 10 it was slower and in having problems, and I think that's exactly what we were saying before. I mean, you go through all those growing pains and the testing and doing all these things wrong and being like almost beaten down, and then you find that one little thing, and you're like, oh man, we found something.
Yeah.
We found something. It's better, okay, we'll add that, in developing the karts. I mean, it's not easy. It's not an easy sport. And then when you went to the races and you had all that work behind it, you knew, like, okay, we welded it like this, we could have this, that, or this new little piece, and, we welded and we made with our own hands, and you go out and succeed with it. It was, I mean, my biggest win in my career was the day after Fausto died. I mean, it was emotional. It was everything, and all you want to do at that point is win. You have to. And to do that we did go out and win that day, and seeing all the emotion of people, and coming back to the factory, and seeing his son, seeing his wife, and presenting him the first place trophy. I mean, we're all like crying like babies. Joe Fong was there, myself was there. I mean, we're all in tears. We were all grown men just sobbing. Like, even thinking about it now, I get emotional about it. So, I mean, that was a bad moment, but a good moment. I mean, it was so much struggle because it was so hard. At that time, I was the only guy who didn't have teammates and everything. But when you had the success, I mean, it was just, mind blowing. Really, I mean, you had everything there. You did yourself as a driver. You did yourself. I was kind of running the team at the time. Organizing all my parts and everything, doing everything. I was basically a one-man race team. And then when we go, I'd have my Diego, or sometimes Gary Lapointe would come in with us and mechanic. But it was all one up. We had the factory behind us, but then when we go out to the track, it was me, and to go out and win and do well, it was just the level of satisfaction was enormous.
Yeah, you couldn't script that one any better.
No, it was like a movie. It was like a film, and I remember going to the track that day in the morning and just saying, like, guys, like, we can't lose. Like, we can't have anything go wrong today. We have to win. Like, There's no other option. And we found a lot of things wrong with the kart from the day before. I mean, we were quite slow the day before. Then we got like 5th, barely, in no position to win the race. And we were way off on the toe and the camber. And, I mean, it's crazy to think, we found lasers, and we used lasers on the cars for the first time. And found there were so many things wrong, and fixed it, and we ended up winning. It was really cool. Really, really special.